Hey, I'm Molly, and this is my 1971 party yacht turned boat home. It's a Carry craft, and I've been here for almost 6 years, so come aboard. So when I first moved onto the boat, the kitchen was straight out of the 70s. There was a fake brick backsplash. All of the appliances were that poopy green color from the 70s that was super popular. Would have kept them because they were cool, but the fridge was lit by propane light, so pilot light that was supposed to be on all the time, which is super dangerous. So I ended up having to get rid of that fridge. And with that, the countertop kind of got busted out. I had a butcher block countertop for a while, but being on the water so often, it's humid, and the butcher block ended up getting destroyed. So I got this awesome piece of quartz for free, and a neighbor of mine had a tile cutter, so he cut the hole out for the sink. So it's pretty great. It doesn't take up much space, so you can kind of actually fit 2 people walking by, if you don't mind a little closeness. So in the cabinets up top, I have all my dishes, which are a mess. And then I keep all my dry food storage up here as well. So all my spices, all my teas, and then, crackers, nuts, whatever, that all goes in the top. So under the sink, also a mess. But it functions. It just has everything you need, trash bags, dish soap, etc. Over here, the drawers, silverware, all that good stuff. The funny thing is that whoever designed this took one of these drawers, cut it in half, and now it's just 2 different drawers. And you can just see that they cut it in half. My neighbor just built me this door because for the longest time, this was just an open space because it's where the fridge used to be. So now it just has a little freezer which has ice and pizza stone and whatever. I use a Berkey for my water, even though it was a really expensive purchase. All of the water in this harbor is fed from the street, which is, 5 city blocks down. And it goes through so many different ancient hoses that you don't know how much plastic is leaching into your water. So that's why I always filter it with this guy. For showering, it's not so bad, but for drinking and cooking, I always use this. Also, I keep my keys here because I'm notorious for losing everything. And so this is the one spot where I can find them. This is my brown stove. It's from the 40s, made in Tennessee. I actually tagged them on Instagram once, and they have 2 pictures on their account, and someone wrote me back, and they're like, that's so cool that it's in a boat. It's tiny, and it only has 1 single rack with a cast iron in it. You have to light it by pilot light in the bottom, and then every time you turn it on, you have to light it with a lighter. It shows you the baking directions from the 50s, of how much they, what temperature they think that you should cook a full chicken at. What temperature is to keep a casserole warm. It's hilarious. I think it's sweet. So this used to be a coat closet, which is funny because it's really shallow. So last year I turned it into a pantry, and because I have celiac disease, I need all these gluten-free flours and all that extra stuff to be baking. So it's nice to use this storage space, and then this is where all the dog's food is. The thing about having a galley kitchen on a boat is that it's a lot smaller than a normal kitchen. But since I have celiac disease, I do tend to cook every meal at home. It does have enough space. I have this giant cutting board here that also fits over the sink or over the oven if I need more space. And I'm able to just kind of make it work. I have had 6 to 8 people over on my rooftop table, and we've made dinner and brunches. I don't know, even though it's small, it kind of works out. So right at the start of COVID, I was really fortunate to get a new job, and I'm remote until it's safe to return to work, which may not be until next year. They set me up with a laptop, this LG monitor, and most importantly, a MiFi, because there is no Wi-Fi or internet on boats. Some of my neighbors use a satellite, but they don't have satellite internet, they just use it for TV. So most everybody here hotspots from their phone. So I'm really fortunate to have this guy. So I've been able to use Zoom and do all that. This desk is pretty awesome. It's vintage, mid-century modern, and I got it for $20 from a kid who just graduated UC Berkeley. So if you ever see this, thank you. And these paintings are by this amazing artist. She's now in Portugal. Her name's Emery. And I love having the two of them together. It makes me super happy. The story of how I got the boat is kind of tough to shorten, but I will do my best. I was living in New York City and I was on a bus going to Boston. On those bus rides, they're super long and bumpy, and I always try to sit in the front row because you can get nauseous. So all the front row seats were taken except for one, and it was next to this lady who had like about 20 bags. And I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna have to make it work. And you know, the bus ride was 6 hours long. We ended up chatting the whole way. And she happened to say to me, you know, if you ever want to come out to San Francisco, I have a boat you could stay on. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. 2 days later, she emails me and she said, hey, if you wanted to do some social media for my yoga company, you could come out and live on my boat for free for a couple months. And I couldn't believe it. And I just said, sure. And I quit my job that week in New York City, and I built out a bed in my car and I drove across the country. Let's see, and then, you know, I became really close with this woman, and then I ended up staying here. And then really sadly, tragically, a year and a half ago, she passed away in a car accident. So her family came out, they had a big service, and they said that she really wanted me to stay here and live on the boat. So I'm really fortunate to have been offered this boat, and you know, I paid the back rent that was due to the harbor master, and then they gave the title to me. So it's really special, and it means a lot. So this is the living room. I pretty much change the furniture around like every month. My friends are always like, wow, it looks different in here every time they come over. But this dresser is awesome. It matches that desk that I found on Craigslist, another Craigslist find. In the top shelf, it's like all of my, you know, creams, makeup, like dog medication, all that stuff, because I don't have any space in my bathroom for that kind of thing. So it lives out here. And then in all the bottom shelves are, you know, like shirts and pants and pajamas, because also they don't fit in my bedroom because it's too small. I have just some art on the walls. I have this awesome little coffee table that I brought all the way from Maine to California because I got it at an antique store for $20. This couch is awesome. It pulls out to be like a full-size bed, also a free Craigslist find, and it opens right up to my back deck. As I said earlier, I just kind of move my furniture around all the time. I recently realized that if I opened up and pushed the couch out, it created like a little nook for Odie. So all of his toys are back here and his bed is back here. And the best part is that when he wants to cuddle, he'll just jump onto the couch. And so it's kind of great having the couch out from the wall. It kind of also makes it feel more opened up. I have a chair with a plant back here, but at some point I'm sure I'll figure out a way to put in some storage. So this is my entryway. It used to just be completely unused space, but I recently had a neighbor help me build a new staircase so that I could use this portion of the boat that was literally just storage. So I have like a big bookshelf for all my books. I have like tons of gallons of paint and tools and my coolers, and then my fridge, plants, and then you'll see there's like a mirror. So I'm just trying to make it more of a functional space as you come aboard. And as you can tell from the state of dust on my control station, this boat does not move. The woman who bought the boat before me never picked up the motors. So since I've had it for almost 6 years, I've redone all of the wiring, all of the plumbing, and it's pretty much a stationary boat. To get it up and running is something that I just can't afford. And as you'll see, it's a constant work in progress. So I'm always painting, always fixing, figuring it out. So this is the captain's quarters. I used to have a queen size bed and it took up like the whole space. So I got a full size bed instead, and I'm able to fit like a bedside table, laundry basket, and I recently just moved my record player in here because funnily enough, every other part of the boat would damage my records because there's so much sun. So now I've had 3 records that have completely melted. So now the record player lives in here. Also in my room are 2 paintings. I like to keep things really neutral so that the plants and the art will pop. because that's what makes me happy. And this painting over here and then this painting on the other wall are both done by my dad, and he's a watercolor artist. And so looking at them makes me really happy. So there are 2 doors here. This door is just goes to the bathroom, but since I put the shower head on the other side, I only enter from the other door. This is my closet, which I'm not going to show you because it's a mess. I have my robe here, and then all of my towels are here. In these drawers are just like socks, underwear, napkins, that kind of thing. So this is my little bathroom. It's a lot like, you know, an RV or a bus bathroom in a way that it's a shower within the room. So when I shower, I'll wrap the entire curtain around so that it doesn't, like, you know, ruin the toilet paper. And then I have the shower head here, which hooks up to the sink, and you can get this little dongle like online, and it switches the water from being in the sink to being in the shower. It's hooked up to a hot water tank like heater, which I have outside. The one issue is that you can't make the water, you can't change the heat from in here. So if you don't test it before you get in, you're kind of screwed. So you have to, there have been many times where I've had to scramble out with my towel on, see people kayaking by, and adjust the hot water temperature and then come back into the shower. Not ideal, but it works, and it's better than using the shared bathroom in the marina. It's small, so I did what I could for storage. I have this shelf up here for, like, you know, makeup, and then shampoo, conditioner, face wash, everything like that. As you can already tell probably from seeing me on this video, I'm usually covered in paint or dirt. So I always make sure I have like a nail brush, which is like a super nerdy thing, but I need one. Otherwise, there's nothing really special about the bathroom except that when you're on a boat, you cannot flush toilet paper because they won't be able to pump it out when they come. So there's a boat that comes every other Saturday, and they have this giant hose that comes out, and they hook it to the outside of the drain. There's a big tank underneath the bathroom, and they will pump it out, and then they take it, and then they'll get pumped. The whole boat gets pumped out later on. The shower water and the sink water go straight into the bay, so it's really important to try and use biodegradable soaps. I've definitely gotten into some conversations with neighbors about like the best products that they've found, and it's just important to like kind of maintain and use as little soap as possible. It's kind of a bummer that it goes straight out, but since I'm so high up, it's actually really convenient that I'm able to just have it drain outside. Other neighbors are below the water line, so to drain out, they have to pump, it has to be pumped up and then go out. And, you know, it breaks all the time when you have something that has to go up and then out. So it's convenient, but it's also kind of a bummer. My cousin told me this thing once, because he has a boat, but not like a houseboat, it's like a fishing boat. And he said, the second best day of your life is when you buy a boat. The first best day of your life is when you sell that boat. So my advice to anyone looking to buy a boat is try to get it for cheap, because no matter how fancy your boat is, it's going to take a lot of work because you're in the elements all the time. And sure, houses are in the elements, but salt water really takes a toll. My other advice would be go for fiberglass. I'm so fortunate to have a fiberglass boat. It really holds up in all of the seasons. And then my third best advice is get a harbor master that you trust. Because if I didn't have the harbor master and his crew that I have here, there's no way I would have lasted. They really help me if there's a leak, if something's broken, if I need my fridge moved onto my boat. You need to have a good community. And other than the harbor master and his guys, I have some really awesome neighbors, and they've been there for me the whole time I've been here. So without the community, it's pretty hard to live on a boat. You're kind of siloed away from the rest of the world, so you really do rely on people to look out for you. And if they see that your boat is, you know, sinking a little bit, they'll notice. And people will have called me when I've been traveling and been like, we're gonna go over to your boat, make sure you're not sinking. And they'll pump out water. It's really important, especially in boat life, to have a community. So this is like the extra loft space. Because this is technically a party yacht, it was meant to be like sitting out in the bay for like a week at a time. People would, like in the 70s, it would be like a whole party, bring like 7 of your friends. You can squeeze about like 4 people up here. It would be great for like a whole pile of kids. Right now, I just have an air mattress and like some pillows in case anyone wants to sleep over. Though most people feel claustrophobic because it's so close to the ceiling. But I must admit, sometimes I crawl up there and sleep when it's a really nice night because it's all these windows, and then I'll leave the roof door open and it kind of feels like you're just right outside. Other than the wind, the back deck's like a pretty awesome place to chill. I got this little bistro set up to have breakfast, have coffee, work on the computer. When friends come by, if it's just one person, it's like a nice intimate seating area. And then I have all of my plants. I'm growing some lemons, some limes, some basil, rosemary. I have cucumbers, which is pretty exciting that I can grow a cucumber on a boat. I'm like, maybe I can market that somehow and just sell, you know, a boat cucumber in a jar. I have eggplant starting and, you know, tomatoes, the normal herbs. And then I have some flowers that aren't ready yet, but they'll be popping up, I'm sure, later in the summer. My friends gave me this grill, which was so nice. They got an even better one, so they gave this one to me. It's awesome to be able to grill. You don't have to mess up anything on the inside of the boat. The boat won't smell like, you know, garlic or steak, and it's just really convenient to have this out here. Being in California, it's pretty much sunny 9 months out of the year, so this grill gets a lot of use. So I was going to open the umbrella, but because it's so windy, I don't want to lose another one. I've lost 2 umbrellas in the past. They've just taken up and just flown and hit my neighbor's boat. Luckily, I didn't have to chase them down the canal. He wasn't the biggest fan of them hitting his boat, but we all survived. The umbrellas, it just gets so windy here that the umbrellas kind of take off. But they're super useful to have because it's 5 p.m. right now and it's still this sunny out. So when it's not crazy windy, they're perfect, especially if you have food out. Otherwise, it's just gonna melt. This is a pretty great space. As you can see, like my table will fit, it can seat like 8 people, and I can also pull it out if I needed to make it longer. I have like a sitting area, a couple chairs, I have a hammock, and then also if I have friends that want to come over and do yoga, we can move the table and like do yoga on the roof. The other really cool thing about hanging on the roof is that about 100 yards away is Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead. He owns like a restaurant and like music venue right down the canal. So when they do outdoor concerts, which is probably every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I get to hear them on the boat. You can also hop in a kayak and go down and listen, but it's pretty nice to just have your own private concert at home. So this is actually the longest I've ever lived anywhere my whole life is on this boat. So coming up on 6 years. Doesn't sound like much time for people that, you know, were able to live in the same house for 18 years or something. But I moved all the time when I was a kid. I don't think I've lived anywhere longer than 4 years until I got here. Before California, I was in Brooklyn, and then I grew up between Maine, Massachusetts, and Washington State. However, all of those towns I lived in, though in different states and across the country, they were all on the ocean. So I think that's why living on a boat is something so easy for me, because I'm used to being near water. Thanks so much for coming over to the boat and visiting with me and Odie. If you want to see more, I started an Instagram. It's at Marin House, MarinHaus, because we're in Marin County out here. And if you're in the area, hit me up. Love to give you a tour in person. Bye.